Like you're in the twilight zone. So I see all of the posts on the Facebook group that I'm a part of, which is a FBA book selling group. They are talking a lot about this message that I got yesterday about not being able to send in certain items, and they're not just books, although people are clearly sending in a lot of books in this Facebook group. And the one thing that was flagged for me was a CD which only had 4 copies, one of them being FBA. Being long tail in the sense of that there's not a ton of copies and there's not multiple sales a month, it's leaning more towards a long tail item, but it's not super long tail, like I spoke about yesterday in the video. So that seems to me not to be the reason why they're flagging items, because they're long tail and they don't want them sitting for so long. And people are getting books flagged that sell regularly, and ones that have FBA offers, that don't have FBA offers, so it seems to be sort of random. So luckily for me, I only had 1 flag, and I just sourced some more items to add to that shipment, so I can get to about 100 items and ship that out this weekend. I'm hoping, crossing my fingers, that they don't hold back any other items. It's bizarre because people are posting weird statistics where they're listing 50 books and 15 or 20 of them are being kicked out, saying that they can't accept them at the moment. So it's a very strange thing going on. There's a theory floating around that maybe Amazon is tweaking with their algorithms and they're trying to figure out a way to lessen the amount of books in their warehouses or items in their warehouses that are going to sit for a certain period of time. But no one is certain about that or for sure about that. So we'll have to see if that's really the case or if it's something else, and maybe there's a mistake with the algorithm that is causing these issues. Regardless of what it is, Amazon is the boss. It's their world, and we're just here to participate and try to play in their large, potentially profitable sandbox. I'm not sure what's going to happen with that, but I'm hopeful. And whatever happens, we just have to adapt. If it's a situation where we have to start picking better items, i.e. items that turn over quicker, well, that's an issue, of course, potential issue, because that, affects the way that we buy books and whether or not we're going to be able to send in these longer tail books that sell for good money. But that aspect, becoming better at picking books based upon what Amazon is willing to accept, could be a good thing, could be. It remains to be seen. So all of that is happening, and I'm visiting this thrift store, which I visited about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So they have tag sales every day, and typically the books it's a range, anywhere from about 75 cents up to about $3. But most of them are $2 and under, and it seemed to me that there was a lot that were $2 to $4. A lot more than I'm used to seeing. And so it seemed really strange to me that this Amazon algorithm tweaking with the message kicking books out and other items, and then going to this thrift store that I've gone to for close to a year now, and all of a sudden the prices are a little bit higher. It's not outrageous, but a few books that I passed on because the profit wasn't quite what I was looking for, comfortable with. I wasn't going to pay $3 or $4 for a book that I was going to make less than $10 profit off of. I felt like, what is going on? Everything was fine a few days ago with the business and shipments and everything, and all of a sudden, Twilight Zone stuff. It's a reminder that things are not always going to stay the same. Life in general, and also in our FBA businesses. You know, Amazon, they're going to change things ongoing. Probably every year something different is going to happen, something new, whether we like it or not. And this is probably part of it. So we just have to go along for the ride if we want to be partners with Amazon, because they decide what to do. It's just unfortunate that they didn't let us know ahead of time that they were going to be tweaking the algorithm and potentially not allowing certain items to be sent in, which could be a big problem. I keep running in circles here with the conversation, but you know, if you're outsourcing and there's no indication on your sourcing app, whether it's the Amazon app or any of the other third-party apps, that this item is not currently being accepted, so don't buy it, then you're spending money, even if it's a small amount, you're spending money on items that you can't even send into FBA, which is the point. You don't want to do merchant fulfilled, you want to send them in. It's a certain level of frustration, but you know, at the same time, one item out of 84 items that was flagged for me seems to be pretty good. And I don't know if that's going to increase for my next shipment or what's going to happen, but I'm not too worried at this point. I'm just hoping that Amazon gets their crap together and doesn't start hurting or preventing third-party sellers like myself of mostly used books and other media, you know, to have to severely change our sourcing strategies and that sort of thing. It's been a bit of a Twilight Zone day. If you've had any of these issues with the items being flagged, let me know, like I mentioned yesterday. But I'm curious to hear if that's been happening. But let's just, you know, keep our heads down and keep going, and keep sourcing and keep sending shipments in, and let's hope and assume that Amazon is going to take care of us, I guess, or going to make the right decisions for everybody. Amazon sells millions of dollars worth of books and many millions of dollars worth of media in general, tens of millions, maybe more. It's not like this is a small percentage of their business. While it might be, they might make more money in other areas. You know, books are huge for Amazon. But I can understand if they don't want items sitting for so long, if that's the issue and they're just tweaking the algorithm, then they should charge more for storage. But if they don't even want to charge more, they just don't want the items, which is weird, if they can make more money off of it, then they need to figure something out. So hopefully the Twilight Zone will be over today and we can get on with the FBA business. My assumption is that they will figure this out over the next few weeks, or worst case scenario, months, and then we'll be back to normal, or it'll be to a new normal, whatever that is. But let's all call Amazon seller support and kind of bug them about this, especially if you've had this issue with the items being flagged. So I'm gonna call them at some point, either today or this weekend, and let them know, you know, hey, what's going on? Can you explain it? Let me talk to a manager. Because the more we call, the more they're gonna have to do something about it, whether they're gonna release a statement or make a change. So let's participate in it and let's try to figure out what's going on. So here from Twilight Zone, it's Book Bandit. Okay, I just got home and I stacked up all the stuff I got today. So I'm gonna try to list them today, like right now, as much as I can, with a baby in the house. And see what happens in terms of if they're all going to be able to be sent in to Amazon, or if there's going to have any issues with the red messages of them not accepting that item. So let's see what happens. Ready? 1, 2, 3, list. So here's the first one that has been flagged, Johnny Cornflakes. And there's the dreaded red message. Maximum inventory, capacity, removed. So number 1 out of 10 or so that I've listed. Here's the items that went through. 25 items. However, I listed 29. Here's the 4 that did not go through. 2 books, 1 CD, and 1 VHS tape. So 14%, that's right, 14% of the items that I listed, which were not just books, 14% did not go through, or Amazon are not currently taking them or accepting them. So if I did 100, I would be out 14 of the 100. I'm glad it's not 50%, but it's something to worry about a little bit. So I just flew through the listing of those 25 items out of 29. I didn't clean up any of the items, you know, but I'll have to wash them up or clean off the little crown markers that they use and get the VHSs ready and whatnot. But I wanted to just fly through it because I wanted to see two things. I wanted to see how many of the items were going to be held back by Amazon, and then I wanted to see if my shipments would change, the destinations would change, and both things happened. So 4 of them were held back, you know, like I said, 14%. It doesn't make me super worried, but it worries me a little bit. So the true test will be when I do my next shipment in a couple weeks. And if those all go through, then that's great, right? If they don't go through and other ones don't go through, then it's going to start accumulating, you know, whatever the reason is. When I first did my shipment to find out where I was going to be sending all the items, they were split between 3 destinations, but 2 of them were in state, so almost half were staying in state. This time, one is going to Florida, one's going to Delaware, and only 20 items are staying in state out of 106 items. So that changed dramatically, or at least significantly. So Amazon's a little bit crazy in my mind. I don't know what's going to happen, but nonetheless, I'm going to send out 106 items, and only 5 were held back. That's CD, and then the other 4 items from today. So once again, let me know if you have any ideas about this. It's someone was saying it might have to do with the warehouses that they were going to send the items to having enough of the items that they were going to send in, so they denied it. And then when people tried a few days later, they accept it. Maybe the quantity fluctuated. Who knows? There's just theories at this point. But hopefully Amazon figures their crap out. As always, remember, keep booking.